Manchester City have announced 17 brand new bus routes to bring you, the fans, to the Etihad Stadium on a match day. Kicking off on February the 17th with the visit of Chelsea, fans from as far away as Macclesfield and Shaw can travel all the way to the Etihad Stadium in one bus. The buses will host around 80 people per trip, and there will be one bus per location. The 17 routes have been largely positively received, but fans have concerns over the pricing structure.
I'll be honest, a little bit surprised in the sense that I think it's quite a forward-thinking, really community kind of focused initiative. I think the pricing structure is the only place in which they've maybe gone a little bit potentially wrong on. I don't really understand why, when we're talking about a bus service, we're making a bus service cost £6 to £8. That is quite expensive when you add that into, it's not just going to be about the single individual match going fan. It will be about getting families there. And when we're talking about reducing the amount of cars on the road, the amount of traffic, some people would be sharing taxis getting into town. But the point is not just more public transport, which is great. It's great they started. It's got to be affordable for people, I'm
now going to speak to Simon Bajkowski, the chief Manchester City writer for the Manchester Evening News, who's been doing a bit of digging to find out just why Manchester City's pricing is the way it is.
Yeah, I mean, they say it's been priced in accordance with the B network and everything else, and it's slightly confusing because City have done it in like 2 zones, whereas sort of the Metrolink map with the trams is like 4 zones. So the sort of furthest bits of Oldham are zone 4 on the Metrolink map, and it's like £4.60 for a single, whereas you're talking £4 single on these new buses, but it's zone 2, so it seems like you could get confused with the zones. In terms of it being more expensive than the B network, yeah, it is, and the club should always be trying to save costs for people, their fans, their local community. It would be nice if they, were to run them for free or something like that, or at £2. But at the same time, we kind of are also long enough in the tooth to know that the club are a global brand and business, and have people in high positions who are always looking for extra ways to make money.
So, to see how the price and the journey compared, I headed to Shaw in Oldham to catch the bus. But first, I wanted to visit the Metrolink. So whilst I'm here at Shaw and Crompton tram stop, I wanted to work out whether it would be valuable to get the bus today. So I'm going to head over to the bus stop in about 10 minutes. It's about 3 o'clock now. The bus leaves at about 3:30. The tram, as you can see just coming up behind me, will take me into Manchester City Centre. I'd have to change probably at St Peter's Square. Then I need to get from St Peter's Square to the Etihad campus. Now, you're wondering the cost of that. A single person travelling on a single travel card in zone 4 is £6.80 on a weekend, £9.50 for a family ticket. The question was posed as to how much would it cost if I was to take my wife and my children on the bus. Well, the bus is going to cost me £8 for a return ticket, regardless of how many passengers I have, whereas a family ticket would cost me £9.50 on this tram. A family ticket that would allow me and my family, for up to 2 adults and up to 3 children, to get into Manchester, cover all the zones. I could go the full length of the network for as long as I want all day. The maths doesn't really add up. So we're going to go and get the bus now, and we're going to go and see whether it's actually worth paying £8 to get the bus, or to pay £9.50 and get on this tram. Or if you're travelling on your own, it's only £6.80. Unless the footfall is so much greater on the tram that you're not going to get a space and you're going to be squashed in like sardines. It feels that, especially from zone 4 where we are now, or zone 2, it's going to be so much better value to jump on the tram. Now, the funny thing is, the first 2 of these buses has been affected already by roadworks, so the bus is actually going to be picking us up a slightly different location and dropping us off at a slightly different location than advertised, so it's not too far away. But just one thing to bear in mind, if you are going to get these buses, the buses can be plagued just as much by traffic as you driving to the stadium, but the benefit is you are taking cars off the road, you are reducing your carbon footprint. You can already see the traffic that I talked about, some traffic lights here. This could be why the announcement has been put out that Manchester City's bus is going to pick passengers up somewhere a bit different, but you know, just always be wary that if you are getting public transport, especially a bus or whatever, whether you're driving or you're getting a taxi, you are going to be victim to temporary traffic lights. Oh, actually, I'm actually just walking up now, and there is a group of people at the bus stop. So I found where I'm supposed to be. So I'm here with Danny now. We're at the bus stop, as you can see just behind him. Danny, why are you stood here today? Why are you not getting the Met? Why are you not in the car? Why are you not in a taxi?
So I can have a drink.
You want to have a drink?
Yeah, I usually drive, but it's a nightmare parking and, you know, paying for parking. And they've made it all double yellows now around the ground. So but I'd give the bus a go. Seems pretty cheap. I don't know how much the tram is, but I don't get the tram. It looks a bit too busy. So.
Have you come far to get here, or do you live local? You live up the road. So do you think that if this is successful today, you're going to do this again for the midweek game or for the derby?
Yeah, do it for the foreseeable if it's good. I don't see why it shouldn't be. Yeah.
What do you think of the price? So we're in zone 2 here.
£6.
£8 return.
£8 return. Well, it's about the same price as parking there, so I'm saving on fuel. Not too bad. I don't know what the tram is. What's the tram? Fine.
So for an adult single for zone 1 to 4, £6.80 a weekend.
Yeah, this will probably be more comfortable. I'm hoping so anyway.
Well, the bus has just arrived now. It's a double-decker MC13, the Etihad. So just in a queue of people. I've got Danny behind me here. We're all going to queue up. We've got, it looks like there's 2. So there's 2 buses pulled up. I don't know if that's going to allow us to get on this one, but there's a small group of people here now. So let's see how we get on. Funnily enough, the bus has just driven off. Left us all here. So it turns out this bus isn't with us. It's just another bus. But the problem we've got here now is because of the traffic, because of the traffic lights. If our bus pulls up here now, any cars that are coming in behind us are going to get stuck. So
that's how we use it more.
Yeah, so Danny's just pointed out the bus stop that we should be on is just behind the bus over there. That's the official Wren's Nest bus stop. They brought us one sooner because of the traffic, but the bus is back now. Here we go. So we're going to get on and see how many people join us for the journey. Just get a return, please, man. So we're just on the bus now. I've just paid me £8. It's pretty empty, but Danny's jumped on. So Danny, just tell me just what's just happened.
Well, I thought I read that there was a concessionary fare. Turns out it's not, and I've had to pay full price for the 14-year-old daughter. I thought it was going to save money, but obviously it isn't saving money.
No. So one thing I did read before I came to the tram, and it's earlier in the vlog, is that it would cost you £9.50 on the Met for the 2 of you.
For return. Both of us?
Yeah. Granted, you might have got squashed in a bit like sardines, but you know, hopefully Man City will watch this and there'll be a bit of a review, because a 14-year-old junior who's obviously, I don't know what the standard fare should be for under 16.
Not £8.
Man City, if you're watching this, hopefully you'll see this and it'll give you a bit of food for thought to review the pricing structure. We left short and made our 3 scheduled stops along the way before arriving at our destination 5 minutes early. Now the terminus for the route 13 was on Briscoe Lane. Now from Briscoe Lane, it's around a 7-minute walk to the stadium. It felt a little bit strange, but you'll find out later on in the video why that is. So we've just arrived now. This is the bus behind me. We've just got off. So I'm just going to walk around now and just sort of show you how far away from the actual ground we are. Now, just thinking, if you're getting this as a wheelchair user, it feels like we're further away than what the Metrolink would drop you off at. So just turn the camera around now. You can see the stadium in the background there and the Corp Live building here. Just on the corner of Briscoe Lane. Across the road, there's a dual carriageway, and then up into what will be the blue carpet. The bus in return is going to pick us up from the exact same place, but obviously on the other side of the road. But yeah, obviously the weather absolutely throwing it down. You're not really going to benefit from staying out of the rain getting on this bus. The time now is about 4:30, so the bus was early. We're 5 minutes early. We were worried about the traffic, but in front of me here is basically where the Etihad campus tram stop is. So if you were looking at getting the bus to the City Ground, my personal opinion, I wouldn't be doing it again. I feel it was too expensive. I feel it's dropped me off far too far away, especially when you got weather like this as well. It sort of feels a bit worse than it is. If you've got a wheelchair or a buggy or anything, you're still walking. You can book the buggy transport service from just behind me over my left shoulder here. There is the option of that. So I'm now speaking to George. George was on the same bus as me coming in. George has just made the same trip that I've made, in the sodden rain, but you're in a wheelchair, George.
Yeah.
What did you make of that bus journey? What do you think of the value of it?
Yeah, I think it's quite a clever option for people that live quite close to the bus stops. So if they can't get to the tram station and stuff, and they're struggling to get to Manchester, it's quite a good idea. But for myself, it's quite a long journey, just in terms of where I live versus where the bus stop is. But it's definitely brilliant for the more local people, and definitely a viable option to like minimise like traffic and stress for some people.
How do you generally get to a game?
I use the tram typically. I prefer to do that. I've been doing that for about 3 or 4 years now, so I'm pretty used to it.
So how do you compare the journey you've just had on the bus and the walk or the ride you're having to do here in your wheelchair from the bus compared to what you get off the tram?
Pretty similar, to be honest, but it's just in terms of distance, it's slightly longer getting the bus. So I think it just depends on the individual, really. It depends what you're comfortable with, but it's a brilliant option for everyone, really. And it's just down to what works for yourself personally as well.
Given the experience you've had of getting the bus today, would you do it again?
Yeah, if it was slightly better weather, definitely. I'd get myself down here and just like get stuck in with the atmosphere with the fans a bit more. So yeah, it's definitely a good option, definitely.
I was quite surprised there just speaking to George. It's actually off camera when I asked him, because I expected with him being a wheelchair user that he simply wouldn't have to pay to get on the bus like everybody else I know who's in a wheelchair that doesn't have to pay. He actually told me off camera he paid the full £8. He paid the full £8 to get on that bus, whereas on the Met he wouldn't have had to pay. I'm just back in Manchester city centre now. Jumped on the tram from Etihad campus. You can see the tram behind me now. This tram is going to Manchester City right now. There's 2 or 3 stops. You can see how busy it is. So the bus gives fans that real option to not get crammed in like sardines like these guys are. Yes, £8 for a return trip from Shaw in Oldham or from Zone 2 basically can feel a little bit excessive. But is it a good price to pay to not get stuck like these guys? If you travel into the game and you go in at 3:30 on a 5:30 kickoff, or if you go in at 1 o'clock for a 3 o'clock kickoff, essentially that's what the bus is offering, 2 hours before kickoff, setting off time. So if you're traveling at that time and you're going to get to the stadium nice and early, there's no reason that on a weekend the tram isn't a better option. Nobody is forcing you to get on these buses, don't forget. No, you know, and that's something to remember. Nobody forced me to pay £8. Nobody forced me to take that bus today. But if it's convenient for you as a fan to get on that bus and you don't mind paying the £8 for something that's going to drop you relatively close to the stadium, you're not going to have to make any change, you don't have to remember to get off at a certain stop, then it seems like a winner really. And like I say, it is a trial. Manchester City are only trialling this at the moment. It isn't something that has been signed, sealed and delivered. It's 6:15. I've just got back off the tram back from Manchester. I've spoken to people at Manchester City. Manchester City want your feedback. If you think it's too expensive, tell them. If you think that concessions, children need to have a ticket that's cheaper, tell them. But don't forget, this is still a trial. This here now, they're learning about it. They've got some data, but there's nothing like the reality. There's nothing like real life. So bear with them. Let them analyse what's going on. But like I say, if you don't feed back to the club with any good or bad feedback, nothing's going to change. The experience that I had on the bus was fantastic, and all the other passengers that I spoke to, they seemed fine. They were happy. The only negative that I got feedback wise was the price, and one person I spoke to off camera didn't want to be on camera, sort of said they didn't understand why we were being dropped off where we were. So I spoke to the club. When I spoke to the club, I asked them, why did we get dropped off at Briscoe Lane? Why did we get dropped off so far away? And he said to me the reason was because after the game, when Man City finish, that bus will get you back home quicker. It'll get you back to Shaw and Crompton where we are now much quicker than it would be if it was trying to get out the car park, if it was trying to you know, get through the traffic, the inevitable traffic that's going to come out of Manchester City Stadium after a match. So potentially there's room for them to move the drop-off point closer. The problem with that is if they drop you off closer, when you come out of the stadium, you might not know where to go. If you're a first-time user of that bus, you might not know where to get back on it. Any teething problems they will address, of course, but they're not going to be able to address it without feedback. Thanks for watching. I hope this has been interesting. Hope you've enjoyed my journey to and from Manchester City's ground on the bus. If you are travelling from Zone 2, it's £8 for a return. If you're travelling from Zone 1, it's £6 for a return. It's worth mentioning at this point as well that Manchester City did tell me that they subsidise the bus service, allowing fans to get to and from the stadium for a maximum of £8. Now, from what Danny was saying, that helps cover the cost of parking and fuel, and as well, if you're an over 65 and you've got a bus pass, you can get on for a bit cheaper. Thank you everybody for watching. It's been really good to catch up with everybody and discuss this Manchester City initiative. Look, City are doing a lot of things at the moment. They're expanding the North Stand, something that we will be doing a feature on. They're bringing a lot more footfall into the east of Manchester. So we will see whether this initiative is a success, whether it can be rolled out further. And if you have any comments to make on the initiative, whether it affects you positively or negatively, or you just want to have a chat about it, write in to us at talkingcitypod@gmail.com. That's talkingcitypod@gmail.com. We will bring you on the show if we feel the need to, or if we want to get your opinion, we can arrange to catch up. Thanks for watching. We will see you in the next one. Ta-ra.